Welcome to our first edition of Traliance Talks. We'll be providing quick but useful tips for navigating the U.S. export control regulations, as well as other trade compliance regulations. Today we're going to cover final rulings. I'm going to point out key places to look before you dive into a published ruling line by line. We'll use what's known as the definitions ruling that was published by the Department of Commerce, BIS, in 2016 as our example. You can quickly find proposed and final rulings from BIS on their website under Regulations and then Federal Register Notices. First, let's start with the ruling reference number. The one we're looking at is 81 FR 35586. The 81 is the volume number. The 35586 is the first page number of the ruling. We can see here it's from the Department of Commerce, and below that we see more specifically it was issued by the Bureau of Industry and Security, or BIS. Under action, we can see that it was a final rule and not a proposed ruling. And the effective date is actually down below under dates, and we see this particular one is or was effective September 1st, 2016. It's not the publication date of the ruling, which was June 3rd, 2016. The regulatory references are also very useful, of course. They're found here under the heading, and it lists 15 CFR Part 734, 740, 750, and 772. Those are the parts that are being revised by this final rule. The summary, which is the beginning of the text, does provide a nice high-level overview of the scope, and that's a useful starting place. But next, before you read all the details, I suggest looking at a section that is actually near the end, titled List of Subjects. List of Subjects is actually found much later in the ruling, in this case on page 35602. And you can see the subheading here, List of Subjects. This is where the actual new regulatory text is stated, and it quickly grounds you on the new regulations. So you can see it takes you through each of the sections and subsections that are affected by this ruling. After reviewing this section, you can then go back to all the other details that are listed after the summary. Those cover public comments received from any prior proposed rulings, FAQs, Q&A, and other types of explanatory details. Thanks for tuning in for this edition of Traliance Talks. I hope you found it useful.